What are you laughing at?
I don't know.
Oh, this is gonna be a bad one.
It's going to be great. Let's just do it. Cue that intro.
The following presentation has been brought to you by HSF Productions.
With your hosts, Jeff and Hey guys, welcome back to IWP, the Impromptu Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Jeff, aka Tally 006. Over to my left is my brother Damien. How's it going, dude?
I'm doing really well.
Good to hear.
I can't complain.
Staying healthy, staying safe out there?
Yeah, we all feel good here. Are you guys feeling good there?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Are you social distancing?
We are social distancing, yes. Work is getting a bit hectic on the rules and whatnot, but we'll make it through.
We're human. We will persevere.
Yeah, we will persevere. We've been through many plagues and pandemics before. I'm sure we'll get through this one. But anyways, as we get into our show this week, we got a good one. It was a really good week in AEW, despite all the coronavirus hoopla, if you will. And why don't we just start it off with Tuesday night on AEW Dark? What do you got to say about Dark?
All right. Well, Dark had 4 matches like he usually does. We had Mr. Cabana versus Mr. Avalon. We had the Hybrid 2 versus Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa. We had Riho. I always say that name wrong. Riho versus Penelope Ford. And the last match was Christopher Daniels versus Stu Grayson. Yeah, I thought it was a decent Dark. I didn't hate any of the matches. All of them are really entertaining. What did you think?
The Colt Cabana Peter Avalon match was a pretty standard, just Dark match. It was entertaining. They were kind of doing the goofy things. Colt Cabana was, playing with the book. Camera angle totally exposed that there was nothing written in it, which I thought was funny. But, I mean, this is exactly what I said when we were talking about Colt Cabana debuting. Is like, this is what he's going to do. He's going to be that guy to come in and work a jobber, be entertaining, and that's exactly what he did. The tag match was tag match. Brandon Cutler showing us again his comfortability in the ring. He's looking better and better every time we see him. I thought the highlight of the night for Dark was the Penelope Ford Riho match. Penelope Ford gets one over on the former champion, and I'm sure she's going to be moving up in the power rankings with that one. And it was a good, solid match. We haven't seen Penelope Ford wrestle, quite a bit. She's kind of been the eye candy for Kip Sabian, but she's getting her chance, she's getting her shot, and it seems like she's taking advantage of it. And to be completely honest, I didn't even watch Christopher Daniels, Stu Grayson. What did you think of that match? Yeah,
it was okay. Good. They're good performers, so it was a good match, but nothing. Not really high spots or anything. They're not really high spot guys anyways.
Yeah.
But it was the end of the match. Dark Order did the run in, and then SU with the save. Just kind of that.
Setting us up for Wednesday night and this this unveiling that we were being promised. So Okay,
Right.
good. I didn't see that, so
Yeah,
that's good to know.
I pretty much had the same thing as you. I was wondering where Hybrid 2's been. Feel like we haven't seen them in a while, so I don't know what the story is on that one.
Right.
But maybe there's an injury or something. I thought too they really are starting to push Penelope forward, so that's good. We'll see some new
It's a new
stuff in the women's
face.
division.
Yeah, it's a new face in the women's division, although she's been there the whole time. But yeah, she's getting a shot, and I think she's taking it, which is good.
I really think that Brandon Cutler is gonna be on Dynamite soon.
Oh, really?
I think once they find a fit for him, I think he could really work there. He's really picked up his game
For sure. And
so we'll see.
just to bring up while we're talking about Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon, actually this segues right into being the elite. So let's just move over to being the elite. I'm just gonna skip ahead because it kind of ties into what we just watched in Dark. This Peter Avalon, Brandon Cutler kind of rivalry that they got going on in being the elite. I've been enjoying these bits, especially just the way they, Peter Avalon's always in Brandon Cutler's face when he loses, and then he goes out and loses himself, and then Brandon Cutler comes back and to throw it in his face. I threw a tweet out. Something just popped in my head while I was watching Being the Elite, so I put this tweet out. This is what needs to happen. We need a Brandon Cutler versus Peter Avalon match. The winner is the winner and bragging rights and all that stuff. Except it ends in a time limit draw and the saga continues. I think that'd be brilliant.
Oh, like he pins him, but the time runs out?
Yeah, like it's a time limit draw, just like Cody, Darby Allin, and I'm sure we've had one other time limit draw since then. But yeah, nobody wins. And the saga continues. I think that would be great.
They could really build up that match, and I like it. I like it. It's why you should be a promoter.
Well, I mean, I've been writing wrestling shows my whole life. I just don't get paid for it, right? Anyways, elsewhere in Dark, we get a continuation on this Colt Cabana. I'm gonna be on every show. You can't stop me business. It opened the show, and we got the payoff right away where Kenny's trying to do this promo outside the ring, getting everybody caught up on, the 6-star match. His hand's broken or injured anyways, and Matt Jackson's filming, and he's like, hey, you know what? He's in the back of the shot. Do you want to do another take? And I thought it was a good bit, and I hope this continues on for weeks to come. Well, what do you think?
I think it totally has to. And it might. Do you think it might even lead to like a feud? Like they'll actually wrestle it out at some point?
Perhaps. Kenny's been known to wrestle Dark, so maybe that's like a Dark main event type match. I don't know that with all that Kenny has going on in Dynamite. He's got Blood and Guts coming up next week. He's tag team champions. He's kind of doing this thing with Paige. Is there room for a Colt Cabana feud? I don't know, but I'd like to see.
Well, but like you say, yeah, it's got to go for, I want to say, at least a month or more.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see it build, and yeah, even if it was a good Dark main event, I'd be happy with that for sure. So, as I mentioned, Kenny's opening bit, he's talking about the Revolution Tag Team Championship match, Omega Page versus the Young Bucks. Dave Meltzer rated it. He gave it 6 stars. It is the first tag team match in the United States to earn a 5 stars or better. And never mind 6. So huge news. I mean, I agree that match was up there. I mentioned it before that I don't think we gassed that one up enough. We kind of played it cool, but
Yeah, at least 5 for sure.
Yeah, it definitely deserved it. I feel like we need to maybe do a sit down watch through kind of live commentary, but maybe we'll do that. If you guys want to see that, leave it in the comments below. We'd appreciate that, and we'll definitely do that if there's a want for it. This brings it into the next segment where Brandon's kind of working both sides of the tag team. He comes in and he kind of gasses up the Young Bucks, and then goes in and gasses up. Or sorry, was he gassing up Kenny? I can't remember now. But anyways, Brandon
no,
has.
I think it was just Young Bucks, and then Matt tells him to, like, what are you doing here? Get out of here. And then it's the Bucks that start on Kenny.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Did you happen to watch like the whole match, from start to finish? I think that's Matt that's doing that.
Right. Okay. And referring to how Hangman was, thinking about the buckshot lariat is what they're referring to. And then we go later on, it's Brandon Cutler talking to Paige. And hey, did you watch the whole match? Did you see that? And I didn't even notice this until I watched Being the Elite, that apparently the Young Bucks and Kenny teased a triple super kick on Hangman when he wasn't looking. I didn't notice that at all.
All right, I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I was thinking I don't remember that either.
So,
but sometimes we miss stuff when the camera guy misses it.
Yeah. And I mean, we just watched the greatest match doing circles around my buddy's living room. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of miss those little things, I guess. But another reason why we need to go back and watch it, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
We go into another bit with Tony Schiavone, or Tony Schiavone, as Jericho likes to refer to him as. I like that better. He comes into Matt's locker room, and Matt's kind of down on himself, and he's like, "Hey, I think you got what it takes there, kid, and I think you need to keep it going." And Matt's confusing his praise as like, what are you sucking up for? Like, we're giving you all the opportunities in the world. What else do you want? He's like, "No, I'm talking about your coffee business." Like, and this just totally ties in with the Britt Baker kind of segments that he's been doing, where this guy used to work at Starbucks and whatnot. So I thought this segment was great too.
I thought it was filmed really well, and it was just hilarious how they're supposed to be these great baristas, but they're using a Keurig and a coffee pod to make the coffee. Yeah, so
There's
I just thought they
actual coffee being made.
Yeah, it was perfect. I really like that segment, actually.
Yeah, really well done. I like how they did it montage style, and they're just playing it up. They're like, "Oh," and then taking sips, and "Ooh, yeah." Like, it was
the money in the cutoff water bottle.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. What else did we have in Being the Elite?
The next one was the public swole announcement. What have you been thinking about this part of Being the Elite? Is this like the second or third week now they've done it?
We've seen it. I like it. I like the idea. It could be pulled off better. So I don't know if Swole just needs some encouragement, some advice, just some confidence. I don't want to say confidence, because she holds herself well, but I don't know. Something's missing. She's not comfortable yet, and and I think the jokes could be a little better. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing is just kind of like what really grinds my gears, kind of Family Guy bit.
Yeah,
and I just think it's coming off. It's a good idea, and I think it suits her. But I think it's just got to be better written, a better joke, and a little bit more comfortability from Swole.
Yeah, it's almost like she's too serious, too
She's trying to
tough
come off
about
too
it.
hard, right? Like,
Yeah.
just
I agree.
relax a little bit. The hardness will come naturally because she is hard. Like, you can tell.
Yeah, build up to it, right? Like, make it comical because that's kind of what the show is about, and then you can get to the hardness after.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So it'll be interesting to
twist it
see.
and-
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes, or if it gets cut. They cut stuff, right?
Yeah.
Remember when they used to do mailbag? They don't even do that anymore.
BTE mailbag.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss the Best Friends. We haven't seen the Best Friends really on.
Oh yeah, no Orange
BTE.
Cassidy this week.
I think the Best Friends
And
were the
then-
best part of BTE mailbag.
Yeah. Oh, that segment in particular. Yeah. Yeah, it was. And then the episode ended with Matt talking about the possibility of canceled dates because of coronavirus, and just sort of his take on what he's feeling about the world events right now.
Right, and I feel like they were really hoping for the best in this whole COVID-19 situation, which I think everybody was. It's unfortunate that we are headed this way, at least for the next month, the foreseeable month. I'm pretty sure they've relocated the next 4 shows to Daly's Place, including this one that we just watched this week. Doing the no crowd thing. We saw that with WWE on SmackDown and Raw. It was interesting in the WWE aspect of things, which we'll get into more in a Scoop of Vanilla segment later. But it's unfortunate. The crowd is kind of the sixth man, if you will, when it comes to watching wrestling, especially live. So it's unfortunate, and I hope things clear themselves up quickly. What's your take?
Yeah, I feel like without an audience, there is no wrestling. Really. I guess there's us at home watching it, but I feel like if I was a wrestler, you need to feed off that crowd.
Well, it's the crowd's so important in that aspect, because if you're doing a certain angle within the match, if you're working a certain psychology in the match, and the crowd's not into it, then you know that you need to change gears and try something different. You might need to call something on the fly. With no audience, you're basically, just running your gun and hoping it's coming off, through the TV. So I don't know if, someone's sitting back in Gorilla on the monitor and maybe he's feeding the ref information like, yeah, this isn't working, this isn't, coming off right, and then it's relayed so then they can change gears. I don't know how they're working it, but I feel like it's gotta be tough.
I wonder if they're maybe even using technology, like watching social media. Like, it's crazy. I did it one time. I was watching Dynamite and I tried to keep up with, what people are talking about on Twitter, and
yeah,
like, it's just a massive amount of reactions. So maybe that's how they were calling it is from things like that.
Maybe. I tried live tweeting just this past week, and I thought I did pretty well, but I mean, I missed a lot of the show. I had to go back and watch some segments.
Yeah, you miss too much.
It's either that or you sit here at your computer. It's a little hard when you're doing it on the phone, but it is what it is. Being the Elite, another good episode. Always look forward to Mondays at my lunch hour, and I get to watch the new episode. So Yeah. Only takeaway is that Swole needs to chill out and get a little bit more comfortable, and I think that bit will be really good.
Yeah, I think she'll get there for sure.
For sure. All right, let's move on to a scoop of vanilla. We haven't done this in a while. Big news this week. The show amongst shows, the whatever they call it, I can't even remember. But I mean, WrestleMania. It's coming up close. I think we're 2.5 weeks away. I feel it's coming up close. But anyways, the coronavirus has struck another victim within the wrestling world, and it took down the monster of them all. Like, WrestleMania is the biggest show in wrestling. None of us can argue that. The whole world looks forward to WrestleMania. If you're a WWE fan or not, you watched WrestleMania, right? And unfortunately, they were forced to relocate from Tampa Bay to Orlando at the Performance Center, where they've been filming all the SmackDowns and Raws. And they're gonna do this. They're gonna do this show with no crowd. What's your initial thoughts of WrestleMania being no audience? I mean, we just talked about it, but I mean, in a WWE aspect, what do you think? The biggest show.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy because, like, is it not the highest attended wrestling show in any one year? Like,
yep.
They're in the football stadiums, right?
Right.
What do they get there?
Well,
40, 60,000? I don't even know.
Well, the claim has always been, or the joke has always been, is that they exaggerate their numbers. So
yeah, like 100,000.
Yeah, I believe the Dallas WrestleMania, like that stadium holds like 115,000 for a football game, and then
that much.
Yeah, like it's stupid big.
Okay.
And then I think they're like, Michael Cole gets on, we've set a new attendance record for WrestleMania, and it was like 147,000. And it's like, you're telling us that 40,000 people were on the field to what? Like it just never adds up.
Yeah.
But
maybe they're counting the guys selling popcorn too or something.
Oh, they might be. But anyways, yes, you're right. It's the highest attended show of all shows throughout the year. 80 and upward thousand people. And this year, we're going to goose egg it.
But do you think it's going to be that after this past week? Do you really think they're going to goose egg it? Because I feel like it's going to be, one show does one thing, then the other show will do it, and they'll do it a little bit different, and it'll go back and forth.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
We'll get into that when we get into Dynamite for sure. But yes, I think WWE will learn from AEW and what they did, and I think they'll pad the stands at the Performance Center, with a lot of the the NXT hopefuls. I don't know if we'll see John Cena sitting out at ringside. Well, maybe we've seen that before at a WrestleMania, actually, now that I said that. But I mean, is Randy Orton really gonna sit out there and watch a match and react to it? No, I think that's something they'll save for the guys they have in the Performance Center and whatnot. But hopefully they learn, because like I said, we'll get into it when we get into Dynamite. But I mean, that kind of made the show. That took the show from here to here. Is just having those 10 guys, would you say, at ringside, just creating noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it comes off.
And you could really hear them too.
Oh, for sure. It's almost like they had some extra mics kind of just laying on the floor just to pick that banter up.
Yeah.
Because 10 people can't replicate 10,000 people. So, but anyways,
except for Sammy,
yeah. So also coming out, I'm just bringing up a tweet here on the screen. WrestleMania 36 is set to be a 2-night event for the first time on April 4th and 5th. Rob Gronkowski is expected to host the show from a closed set with only essential personnel. So there's the official. This is from Bleacher Report Wrestling. They're really good sources. And then this news is confirmed by Rob Gronkowski himself. As I pull up the tweet here, it's official. I'm hosting WrestleMania this year, and it's going to be too big for just one night. For the first time, #WrestleMania will be a 2-night event. Saturday, April 4th and Sunday, April 5th on the WWE Network. Blah, blah, blah. He plugs Fox TV and whatnot.
So are they talking about the format? What's the 2-night?
I'm glad you asked. As I bring up the next slide here, I'll just read through this really quick. WWE has officially confirmed that WrestleMania will be taking place over 2 nights. The first night, Saturday, April 4th. The second night, Sunday, April 5th. A rumor is going around that the suggested matches will be taking place on each night. Here is the match order according to WWE's website. So on Saturday, April 4th, it seems like they split this up. Raw and SmackDown are going to have their own kind of WrestleManias, with one exception, and I'll get into that. So Saturday seems to be the Raw night, which we're going to get the WWE Championship match, Drew McIntyre, Royal Rumble winner, versus Brock Lesnar. We're going to have Charlotte Flair, Women's Royal Rumble winner, versus Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship. So there's the one exception. We're also going to get The Undertaker versus AJ Styles, which has been a story that I wish I was watching. It seems like it's been really good.
I've heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, this all started at Crown Jewel a few weeks ago, well, about a month ago now. And Undertaker kind of steals this gauntlet match away from Styles right at the end, and this feud has been really good, and I can't miss an Undertaker WrestleMania match, right? Like it's always good.
Yeah.
And to finish off the night so far is Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, those are two just workhorses. That'll be great. Moving on to Sunday, April 5th, we kind of have the SmackDown show. We're going to get the WWE Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, and I already fell asleep.
Yeah.
But I
wake up, buddy.
Yeah. As we get into the other half of the exception, we have the Raw Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. Shayna won that number 1 contendership match in the Elimination Chamber a couple weeks ago. We also have John Cena versus The Fiend, which would be, I think that'll be a really good match. I haven't really heard of any real build-up. I don't even know how this got started, so that'll be interesting. And then they kind of have in parentheses here, Edge versus Randy Orton isn't listed because it hasn't been official yet. They're still kind of building this feud. So I don't know if you watched the Royal Rumble, but Edge makes his surprise return, and Rated RKO, classic tag team from the mid 2000s. They kind of get together and they're working together in the Royal Rumble, and I believe it's Randy kind of turns on him last minute and eliminates Edge, which leads into the Raw after, and Edge kind of calls Randy out, and out of nowhere, and the story rolls on, right?
Yeah.
So
and then the whole I'm sorry, that kind of whole new saying came out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really excited to see Edge in a match. It's very easy to protect himself in a Royal Rumble match, but now that he's actually going to work a match, it'll be interesting to see how his neck holds up and if he's okay. It's good to see that he's in with Randy Orton. Randy Orton's one of the best in the business for taking care of the other guy. So it'll be good to see. And the one thing that I'm really excited about having these 2 nights is that hopefully these matches will be longer. You know, like I don't think each show is going to be 3 hours. I think there'll be 2 2-hour shows. But I mean, with only 4 matches on the card, you're hoping each match is going to get at least 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You'd hope so. I mean,
yeah. I wonder how they're going to handle the pay-per-view situation. Do you buy once, get both, or are you paying for separate nights?
That's a good question, because I guess the mentality is that if you have the WWE Network, you're getting both. But for those who don't have the WWE Network, how are they going to watch this show? That's a good question.
Yeah. Especially when you only want to watch the one night.
Saturday, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's the first time that this has kind of happened. WrestleMania with no crowd over 2 nights. We'll see. Like we said before,
but they're already the promotions are already starting to figure it out, right? So
for sure,
it might not be as bad as we think.
For sure. Yeah, like we said earlier, hopefully they learned from what AEW did on Dynamite this week, and it'll make that show a hell of a lot better. But let's get into power rankings. What's new in the power rankings this week?
All right, these are the power rankings for March 18th, so right before Dynamite, and we'll start off with the men's division. Not a lot of changes here. Chris Jericho still the number 1 contender, followed by MJF and Kenny Omega. Cody moves up 1 to number 4, and Pac drops 1 to number 5. So it's just Cody and Pac that switch there.
Like, I'm just looking
Pac's
at
kind of on a losing streak, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't think he's won a lot in a while. I'm trying to think.
I guess
maybe that Best Friends Death Triangle one match they had.
Maybe. I'm just looking at this graphic here. How is Chris Jericho still number 1 contender with an 0-1 record in 2020?
Has he even had a match since he lost?
No, that's his only singles match in 2020 is that loss to Moxley. And he's still the number 1 contender? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's MJF's spot, but that's just me.
We need to tweet Cody and ask him, what's your algorithm for figuring out these rankings?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
How about the women's?
All right. Let's move on to the women. So we have, I've been practicing this name, Hikaru Shida. She remains at number 1. Chris Statlander moves up 1 to number 2. Yuka Sakazaki. Did I say that right? Sakazaki.
I think you put one close. Too many S's in there, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
She's at 3. Britt Baker moves up 1 to number 4, and Riho, I said it better that time.
You did.
Drops 3 positions to number 5.
Probably coming from that loss on Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And then in the tag team division, we still have Dark Order in the number 1 contender spot. Young Bucks at number 2. SCU still at number 3. Best Friends still at number 4. Private Party is back in the top 5. And Inner Circle, which was Jericho and Sammy, they're off the list now.
Private Party kind of prairie dog in the top 5, eh? They're in 1 week, and the next week, and back in this week.
I got to use that prairie dog.
You like the reference?
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it rolling. Let's get right into AEW Dynamite Wednesday, March 18th, live from Daly's Place in Jacksonville. This episode was supposed to be in Rochester, New York, I believe. Again, because of the COVID.
Newark?
I think Blood and Guts was supposed to be Newark.
Oh, okay.
So I think they were supposed to be in Rochester this week. But because of the COVID situation, the pandemic, they move it to Daly's Place. We're rocking it with no crowd. Limited crowd. We have some guys hanging out on the outside trying to make it interesting, which I liked. Let's talk about this cold open. How cool was that?
Well, I should start off by saying that I did not have high expectations for this show. I didn't see SmackDown. I didn't see Raw.
Neither did I. I'd only seen some clips, and it wasn't good from what I saw.
Yeah, so I couldn't imagine doing a performance in front of no one. So I'm a teacher, and I'm thinking, okay, let's do a lesson where you're doing it to no one. And to me, that just sounds like the strangest thing. So I really think that this was my favorite Dynamite to date. I think everybody stepped up their game, and I couldn't take my eyes off the show. I didn't touch my phone once. Yeah, I thought I was really good. About Cody's promo, like he brought tears to my eyes, man.
He's so good at that. I can't help but just get emotionally involved in anything this guy says. Like he is the general. I think I've said that before. Like, you can't help but want to follow this guy into battle.
Yeah, so he's talking about how, he thinks the world is a big place, but really, it's rather small.
Right.
When you're putting things into perspective. And we have to be informed. We have to, worry about our health and whatnot, and about science, but we can't live in this prison of fear, because that's not living at all. And, he doesn't want to live in fear. He wants to be alive, and he hopes that everybody else is alive. Like, that part, like, if that's not a call for we're going to get through all of this, then I don't know what is. So, yeah, like, this was a really awesome way to start the show, I thought. And the lights were all down too, right? Just totally set that mood.
Yeah, and for sure. And then he gets into the story side of things by, bringing in this huge match that we've been building to, Blood and Guts, next week, and how, the Elite, he kind of admits, the Elite is kind of torn right now. Doesn't necessarily say they're in trouble, but he refers back to the days where, the Bullet Club, they were in trouble. He acknowledges that. He's like, we got through that before, and we'll get through it again. And then he calls on his brothers, I can't do this alone. We can't do this alone. I need your help. And one at a time, out comes Kenny and Matt in their own ways. And excuse me. And they kind of just take the torch from Cody and, put their own take on things and continue the dialogue and like, this whole cold open was like so good. Like, I was just entranced by it. Like you said, the mood was set with the lights down. It's just like a single spotlight. It's almost like a one-man show. And man, they knocked this out of the park. We're already starting at 0 to 60 in no time, and it was all with promo, all with words. It was really good.
Yeah, and then they kind of, I think it was Kenny who kind of went on and said, like, we're in bad times right now, but it's going to be things like wrestling. It's what pro wrestling does. Is it's about entertainment and making people happy and, forgetting about all of the troubles in the world. And yeah, like, to me, that set the tone. I was just totally ready for some pro wrestling, and like I say, I like this was one of my favorite ones.
Wow, that's a high praise. High praise. I like it. Matt kind of ends his promo with calling out Hangman and saying, "Are you with us or not?" We need kind of all hands on deck kind of thing, and classic cowboy gimmick just comes out with his whiskey on the rocks, and
He had a nicer cup this week, eh?
oh, that was a whiskey cup right there. that was very on point with what was going on. But he comes out and he tips his glass. He's like, "I'm with you. It's all good, and we'll get through this," kind of thing. And he kind of walks off, and then big introduction to the show itself, and Kenny Omega is just like, "Let's get this show started," and cue the pyro. And man, they put on a pyro show for nobody. Like, how much did that cost? Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
It was nothing more than they've ever done on any other Dynamite. It was the same kind of pyro show, but to do that for nobody, for the TV audience, that Tony Khan, he's out there to put on a show, and he's given us a show. I enjoyed it. They very easily could have just played that off with just a simple light show, but to have the pyro there, props, big props
For sure.
All right, let's get into the first match of the night. We had
well, before this we had a little bit of a segment, and they kind of did this throughout the entire show. Like, in between things, there was always kind of a segment of some sort of interview or whatnot. So Tony's out on the ringside, and MGF is out there, and I think this is like the first shot that we get that the whole show there's going to be wrestlers who aren't participating in Dynamite. They're gonna be outside,
right?
So I don't even know if Tony even gets to ask him a question, but he's just like, I'm tired of making the show great, and I'm taking the night off, kind of thing. And I thought the funniest part of this is him and Sean Spears got money out in there, starting that bet on the matches, and Tony's like, are you guys betting on the matches? And MGF tries to play it off like, oh, no, I'm not. And then it was like they thought the camera's off. It's like, hey, Tony, you in on this action? And Tony played along, which I thought was just perfect.
Classic Schiavone.
Yeah, that was a good segment.
I like if we could just talk about Tony for a second. Like, this is, it's been said, the voice of our childhood. Like, I watched Nitro back in the day. I was a WCW guy. I always thought it was better than what WWE was doing at that time. But just to see this other side of him, it's wild. It all started with the Britt Baker segment on the cruise ship, where he's like, she's like, you were nothing. You were just working at Starbucks. Like, you were just nothing but a barista. And he just kind of looks at the camera and goes, "It's like, Tony, like, what's going on?" And now he's
like, kind of the straight man, right? And
he's supposed to be the straight man, but now that you got JR on the team, like, he can kind of be that. It's not even a heel commentator. He's the Jerry Lawler. He can be kind of goofy. He can be kind of pervy. He can.
You know what? You just blew my mind there. I didn't even realize that there's no heel commentator.
There really
no one's
isn't.
telling anybody you're an idiot or anything like that. Huh?
No, he's not.
I like it, actually.
Everybody's gassing.
That's probably why I like the commentary more.
Maybe. I think eventually.
I think WWE takes away from the actual matches with that, stupid stuff. Corey Graves.
Yeah, Corey Graves can go suck an egg. Be better, bud.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Just lick the chicken's ass, for Christ's sakes.
He's too
All right, you're getting me going. I'm going to be ranting tonight. Oh,
no. Corey Graves can lick all the chicken's asses he wants, but he's too busy licking the women's locker room, from what I know. Anyways.
All right, first match. We had Best Friends versus Lucha Brothers.
I gotta restart this slide.
And Orange Cassidy came out with Best Friends. He was on commentary. And
you just stop right there. Orange Cassidy on commentary, already better than Britt Baker.
And they did the same thing.
And they did exactly the same thing. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Go on.
It just goes to show you, not that Britt Baker's not talented, but it's a skill, right? She just doesn't have that skill yet, but she'll get there.
She'll get there.
So some noticeable things about the start of this match. The first one being that Brandy was ring announcer.
Right.
So no Justin Roberts this week. Did you hear why that was? Or
I haven't heard anything from Justin, from his social media or anything. So I don't know if he's sick or if it was an elective, kind of like an optional thing. And do you want to? Maybe he had a prior. Well, he probably didn't have a prior engagement. I mean, it's Wednesday night, so yeah, I'm sure maybe they gave him a choice and he decided to stay home. Hopefully, he's not sick because he's one of the best in the game. And if he is sick, speedy recovery, bud. We hope you're back. But I thought the best part, the silver lining of this whole situation is that like Brandy was a ring announcer in WWE and she hated it, and she only did it because it got her on TV, and it was her on TV basically, and the graphic down at the bottom says it all, and the little quip at the top said she would never ring announce again, and even she kind of laughed it off when she knows the hard camera was on her. I thought it was just good. I thought it was good.
yeah, I didn't think you were going there when you said it was the best part. I thought it was Brandy's hot, so the best part of it was. But I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, it was funny that they did that part, and if you saw like the interview prior to Dynamite, her and Tony did a little bit where he kind of says that you have to announce tonight because Justin won't be there. So, and she wasn't too impressed about it, but I thought she did a really good job.
Oh, for sure, experience.
The next thing we notice is that so there's other wrestlers. So we saw MJF on the outside with Sean Spears, but now we get to see that there's more. There's a group on one side and a group on the other side. And I'm not sure if you noticed this, but I noticed that it was like all of the heels were on one side.
Right.
You had MJF, Sean Spears, Lance Archer. Jake was out there. And then on the other side, you had all of the faces, Colt Cabana, SCU, and all of that.
Joey Janela.
So I thought that was so cool.
Which I mean, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but with the ring entrances, the faces come out one side and the heels come out the other. And if you notice every week, it's always the same.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, pay attention to it next week. If you ever go back and watch like early AEW Dynamites and Darks, Britt's coming out one side, and all of a sudden she comes out the other side because she did the heel turn. Right. So yeah, very clever. It makes sense with the two entrances, and yeah, just tying that in with the wrestlers out in the crowd, faces on one side, heels on the other. It totally makes sense.
Yeah. Next thing I noticed is that the wrestlers came out and did their normal entrances as if there was a crowd. They're pointing and raising their hands and stuff like that. What'd you think about that?
I feel like, as hokey as it might be, not to use one of that jabroni's words, we'll get into that, but as hokey as it is, I think you have to do it. It's almost like when you're filming a movie and like Jericho has made this comment before on Sharknado. Like he was in like Sharknado 3 or something like that. is when you're filming a movie and there's nothing there to react, you have to play it straight. You have to play it, you have to use your imagination that it's there, or else it comes off hokey. So I think as the talent coming out for this match, for these matches with no crowd, you just gotta act like they're there and play it up for that audience at home. Because if you just kind of came out and kind of got into the ring and whatnot, like it would just look, I don't know, it would just look weird. I feel so.
Yeah.
I'm glad they played it up as much as they did. They could even go bigger to kind of almost make make light that there is no crowd. Almost go over the top. But I enjoyed it. Yeah. I think they did it right.
What I thought about it is it really shows you how practiced they are, because
for sure,
it didn't seem forced to me, and I really saw it in the ladies match, that fatal 4-way, that like they weren't missing a beat on like what their actions are.
Right.
It's like, it's one thing to react when no one's there, but when you're doing the exact same routine that you do every time you come out, it's like it's pro, right? And it's probably just muscle memory now. They don't even think about it. They just do it.
It's almost like being on vacation and you still wake up at 6 a.m. and make your coffee. And it's just like, what am I doing? Like, I got nothing to do today.
Yeah.
But you do it because, like you said, it's muscle memory.
Yeah. I think I have one like offer for improvement, and it would be that they might need to get the cameras more in the face of the wrestler rather than, being so panned out. I think if they're like more like in the audience's living room, I would like to see what that looks like.
Okay.
Maybe it's not better, but I would like to see what that looks like.
Interesting.
The next thing I noticed was no Pac. So we're introduced to Death Triangle. We still don't like the name.
Oh, it's horrible.
But then Lucha Brothers come out without their guy. Did you think this was weird?
I can't say that I noticed it, but again, just with the situation that we're all in, it almost just makes sense. Were you really gonna fly to Jacksonville, and risk being, whatever, infected or infect others, just to come out and stand ringside while your teammates kind of go on a match? I didn't really think much of it, to be honest.
Okay. Do you think, like, does he still have other promotion obligations somewhere else? Like maybe, he couldn't fly, he couldn't get there or something like that?
I
was just wondering if you heard anything.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything. So yeah, I'm not sure. But like I said, I didn't really notice it. I think it was just a victim of circumstance kind of thing.
Yeah. What'd you think of the match?
I mean, I've said this a million times. It was just a really standard tag team match. You can't go wrong with the Lucha Brothers and the Best Friends. These four guys are so good. There was one little botch by Trent that he is insisting people on Twitter stop bringing up, but I thought that was clever. But otherwise, yeah, the match was solid. I enjoyed it. It was good. Progressing the story, you know what I mean? Like it did its job.
Yeah. I noticed a couple of things. The first one is that I think this is the first time we've seen Best Friends where it's Trent that gets the crap kicked out of him.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's it's usually Chuck that kind of just so I thought that was interesting. And this wasn't a high flying match. Like Lucha Brothers weren't really on the ropes. They weren't really, Ray didn't do his normal
He didn't
kind
do
of
that.
stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just a banging match, just hard slaps and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Best friends didn't hug.
Yeah, Chucky kind of, hey, whoa. So good.
I like how they introduce, kind of world events and things into to that.
Right. Yeah, that was good. I like that.
I can't even remember how it ended. Do you even remember how it ended?
Yeah. Trent gets set up for the Cold Zero finisher, the tag team finisher. Ray kind of intercepts Chuck a little bit, so Penta kind of gets out of the move and then gives just the low blow of the century. Man, did that low blow look stiff. I don't think Trent was selling on that one, but and then it goes right into I'm not even sure what the Death Triangle are calling their finisher, but it's probably, I don't know, edges and angles or something stupid like this, but
some kind of geometry term.
Yeah, but the heels get the 1, 2, 3 on this one, and I mean, like I said before, solid tag team match. It's progressing this story. I'm sure this is going to build more. Hopefully, we'll get some different mixes and matches with the Death Triangle and the Best Friends. Maybe Orange Cassidy tags with Chuck and Penta tags with Pac or something like that. But let's keep these matches going. They're great. You can't go wrong.
So after the match, they go up the ramp and they get interviewed by Tony, and they lay a challenge down to Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, they want to meet in the parking lot.
Yeah,
I can't believe.
And this was right after he said "dick" on TV.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chuck just like, you think he just kicked my friend in the dick? I was, like, even
Did
Tony.
You see Tony's
yeah,
reaction?
Tony's like, whoa, dude, we're still on TV.
Yeah.
Even TSN was just like, oh crap! Like, I was taking a sip of my coffee. I couldn't bleep that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Funny.
But I mean, whatever. It made me laugh. So yeah, next week, I guess, like, next week's gonna be a banging show. We're gonna get this parking lot street fight and blood and guts. It's gonna be a wild show. I can't wait for next week. This just popped into my brain. Parking lot match, perfect for the situation. You wouldn't have had a crowd there anyways. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Next match of the night.
All right, next match had two of my favorites in here. Penelope Ford. This was a fatal four-way match. So Penelope Ford versus Riho versus K-Stat versus Hikaru Shida. Did I do the names well that time? I'm getting better.
Nailed it.
I thought this was a really good match. There was the one kind of botch, and I don't even know if it was really anybody's fault, but I really liked this match. It had one of the most insane moves I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
This match was, like, at the time, like, I was popping so hard for this match. Like, I was just like, man, these girls are killing it right now. Actually, I don't even know what this supposed botch is. I thought this match was really, really good. There was one moment where Penelope Ford kind of landed awkwardly, and she was kind of, nursing her knee for the rest of the match. But that didn't stop her from pulling off this springboard Poison Rana. Holy shit.
Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think when Penelope did I think she was coming off of the ropes and she overshot. Yeah, she overshot Statlander. was this that move and then they redid it, or
Maybe.
was it different? I don't know. But she nailed it. Absolutely nailed it in that next one.
The match structure.
If you guys didn't see that move, go back and watch it, because I've never
It'll
seen
be in the clips as we're playing, as we're talking here. But yeah, the match structure was so well done because Statlander kept bringing the girls up on her shoulders to do these different moves, and she was kind of going through the field, and then Penelope does this springboard, lands on the shoulders, and you think, she's gonna slam her down to the mat, but Penelope just dives right into this poison rana, and K-Stat sells it perfectly. It was the spot of the match. It was really good. Like I said, I was on fire after this match. Like, I got immediately to Twitter and gassed these girls up, man. They knocked this one out of the park. I know that's my new catchphrase. T-shirts coming to Pro Wrestling Tees, hopefully.
I thought your catchphrase was it was a strike.
Well, yeah, you bold a strike on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, great match. I enjoyed everything about it. Hikaru Shida got the win on this one.
And that's the right call to make there, being the number one contender.
Yeah, I feel like she needs to work her way up and get that title shot that she deserves. She's been number one contender really for so long. And this match was awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below.
For sure.
After the match, we get into another, ringside, hard-hitting interview with Tony Schiavone. This time we're talking to Colt Cabana. And Colt really just showing his mic skills, really. Like, this guy is really comfortable on the mic, as I've said before. And, what did you think of Colt's segment?
Yeah, just full of charisma. What has he been on the show now? 3 weeks, and every time he gets on the mic, I just like what he has to say. And he made one comment that stood out for me, and that was, "I'm the Bruce Springsteen of AEW." I don't even know what that means.
I was gonna say I might be
it.
too young. I don't know what that means, but who is Bruce Springsteen? We're Canadian. I like Bryan Adams.
Born in the USA.
No, I know.
Okay. I was like, wow, we're kind of a musical family, but okay.
Right, yeah. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen sucks. So we also get, Kip Sabian. We didn't even mention how kind of involved Kip Sabian was in this match. But he kind of gets into it with Colt. Colt's kind of like, making fun of him, and he gets in his face. So I guarantee you that match will be on Dark next week.
Yeah. I like how, it seems like, Colt Cabana is just considered the indie guy.
Right.
Right. And he was kind of brought up, but his attitude is not, "I'm an indie guy." It's like, dude, I've been doing this a long time. I'll kick your butt anytime, anywhere. So I'm totally loving CC right now.
Yeah, Colt he's kind of an ROH original. When our ROH got booted up there in the early 2000s, they snagged guys like Colt, Chris Hero, also known as Cassius Clay, or no, that's Muhammad Ali. Cassius Ohno, sorry.
I knew who you meant. Isn't that weird?
Cassius Ohno, also known as Chris Hero, CM Punk, like, these were guys that ROH snagged up from the beginning. Colt's been doing this for a really long time, but Colt actually was, signed development deal with WWE at one time. They just didn't like what he had to offer, and they let him go. CM Punk.
That seems like a recurring story, right?
Well, especially
like
with
everybody's been in WWE. I was in WWE developmental.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your ring name?
Damn it. You're a jerk.
I was hoping you'd pull something out.
I'm 4 beers in, man. I can't think that fast. All right, cut this. I'll have something better the second time.
That was great. Moving on.
All right. So then we go to a pre-recorded clip
earlier in the day.
A Mox interview outside of the arena. So this is the second week in a row now that Mox hasn't been on the show, and we're getting these kind of pre-recorded interviews with him. So what do you think about this?
Mox is so good. And I want to say he doesn't get the credit he deserves for his mic skills, because, we all know he's an in-ring great. But he is so good in these vignettes when he's allowed to be himself. I loved that they brought the Ford GT back. He still has it. He's still driving it around. Still got the license plate on it. I don't know if that's kayfabe or not, but it's so clever that he's still ripping this thing around. Maybe that's actually his car. I don't know. But he's angry.
No, he's a truck guy. He's a truck guy.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
So they really played it off as if he kind of walked up to the doors and someone said, "No, you can't come in. You're not medically cleared." And he's huffing and puffing. He's like, "What does that even mean?" I've been beaten and battered so much in my career, and nothing's stopping me from coming after Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle and all this stuff. So, really making it sound like he's going to be a part of this match in some way, shape, or form.
Like blood and guts, you mean?
Yeah, like he's going to interrupt. At this point, are we thinking he's the fifth guy? Now that Nick's out?
I think I was. Like, it made sense.
It did, yeah. And then we were even talking, like, is Hangman even going to be a part of this at that point? Like, he could have been one of those spots too. But we got the drink tip earlier in the night, So you got to think that there's just the one open spot left. And yeah, at this point, I'm totally thinking we're going to see another segment later in the show where Mox broke his way into the arena and laid the, I'll help you guys. Let me help you, and Cody, I'll give you a title shot. Something could have went that way, and it would have worked.
I don't like you guys, but we got a common enemy. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
I was too. Yeah,
cool.
I didn't think that he would come back.
Okay,
but I thought that he was going to be part of the match.
All right.
So after that segment, I think it went to commercial, and then we came back for our next match, which was the Butcher and the Blade versus Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy. Yeah, what did you think of this match?
If there was a black mark on tonight's show, it was this match. This just wasn't up to their standards. I feel like the match the week before with the Butcher and the Blade and MJF against Jurassic Express was way better. Can you say that's because we had no Marco Stunt and no Bunny? Probably. But
don't even get me started with no Bunny.
What's your issue with no Bunny?
That's BS, man.
Is that why you turn the TV on Wednesday nights? Is it strictly for the Bunny or what?
I don't want to say it's the only reason but
yeah, I I'm saying it right now. It's the only. I think it's the reason why this match was kind of a stinker. You know, as
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think, yeah, like I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was as good as last week. There were some weird spots in it though. And if I had to like choose one person or thing about it, I would say it was Luchasaurus. For some reason, he seemed kind of lost out there. And then I feel like him and the Butcher just kind of did the same bit they did the week before.
right.
Like yeah, I don't know. I could have been just so distraught because the bunny wasn't there. And then the ending was just kind of goofy. I don't know if you noticed that with the Jungle Boys running the ropes, and then it's like he was gonna do a splash or some kind of flip, and then he just sneaks out the.
Yeah, I think he was gonna go for a tope suicina for the block on the pin, and then Blade wasn't ready, so he just walked through the ropes and kind of gave him an elbow to the back, and it was just this match was bad. Like we can't be sugarcoating it. Oh, here comes the rant. Oh, geez.
No, maybe I need to rewatch it. Like I honestly didn't see it as being terrible.
No, like,
but
I mean,
there was not good parts in it.
We're fans of AEW. Like, I think it's the superior show in wrestling right now. But that's not, that's not a reason not to tell it how it is. Like, this match kind of sucked. And by kinda, I mean really sucked. Like, this was Dustin versus Hager bad.
But Aubrey Edwards was in the match. And she's always good.
She's always good, but even her extreme refereeing talent could not bring this match up to 2 stars. I'm sorry. This match was garbage. You got to be better.
I'm gonna rewatch it.
Got to be better, Lucha.
I feel like I didn't do my part there.
It's okay. As we move along the show, we get into another big segment of the show. Dark Order comes out. It's just Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, right? The lackeys weren't there. If I remember
The lackeys
correctly.
weren't there. Yeah. What do they call those guys? They have a name for them.
Alex Riley and
No, but the guys with the mask in general, like their little group.
Oh,
What are,
the
like
Disciples?
Screamers or something?
The
No, I don't think it's that cool of a name. Anyways,
Job
I digress.
Squad. So this is the moment. Like, we've been building to this Exalted One reveal for God, it's felt like months and months.
But we know it's coming, right? Because they're saying
they said next week it'll be revealed, and here we are a week later, and we're all pumped. And I was totally expecting a swerve where this vignette kind of started, and I'm like, they're not going to reveal it. This is a tease. They're kind of bringing it, keeping their word by showing you this kind of hooded figure and whatnot. I thought we were totally not going to get it.
But even before that, it's 2 swerves because SU does the interrupt.
Right.
And it's Christopher Daniels on there. And like, I had a thought, I'm like, wow, if this is the heel turn,
what a perfect time.
I wouldn't have been shocked if it happened. So yeah, you get that swerve, and then that happens, that vignette.
Now that you bring that up, because Scorpio Sky wasn't there. It was just Frankie. And, Christopher Daniels starts the interrupt off. He's got the mic, and he's just like, oh, enough of this. Like, I'm sick of hearing about this. And It's all bullshit and all that stuff. And then Frankie takes the mic, and then that would have been the perfect time for Daniels to, clock him and reveal himself. That would have been really good.
I feel like that's what they were trying to do. Like the camera angle, the where everybody was standing.
Interesting. Now I got to go back and watch that segment again. Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up.
But did you notice about this vignette how the voice seemed to be changing? It was very...
They started off with this really thick filter, really changing, voice changing kind of software. And as the vignette was playing on, it got clearer and clearer and clearer. And, I mentioned it last week, how we've never heard this person talk before. And I'm, the voice is super clear at this point, and I'm like, I have no idea who this actually is. I've never heard this voice before. And then it is.
But isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic, Jeff?
Alice Morissette?
Because when we talked about this, you even said, well, I don't know if it can be him because I don't know if he's a mouthpiece.
Exactly.
So we wouldn't even know what he sounds like.
That's what I mean. So, it totally worked. And then it's finally revealed that it is formerly known as Luke Harper, Brody Lee. I am the Exalted One. And, the camera comes off the promo, the vignette, and there he is standing in the ring and damn near takes Christopher Daniels' head off. What was your reaction when you finally see that it's Luke Harper, it's Brody Lee? What did you think?
Well, I want to say that he was one of my predictions. So I wasn't totally shocked, but I was lost with the voice too. I was really trying to figure out who that was. I want to say my first reaction was I couldn't even believe it at first. He looked different to me.
Right.
Like it almost didn't look like him. He seemed to, I want to say it was like, is he not gray? Like, was he not have a bit of gray in WWE?
Yeah, I think so.
So like he dyed his hair. He's like totally black. He's not the really bushy beard. It's all it's more trimmer. It seemed he looked different, and
he looked short to me.
Oh, okay.
Like
is that weird angle because the camera was on the stage?
I think it was because like Christopher Daniels isn't a giant, but when they kind of did that reveal and he does the big kick, and he's standing next to Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, who aren't giants themselves. Like, I remember this guy being damn near 6'5", 300, and he looked more like 6'1", 240. Like, but anyways, the reveal was awesome. I was mad that I didn't see that coming, because I kind of really thought that Luke Harper was going to be the client of Jake the Snake, but that promo was really good. It was obviously pre-recorded, so we'll see how he does come the weeks ahead, how he does on a live mic. But the pre-recorded vignette was really good. I enjoyed it. He has a great cadence to his voice, the way he was speaking. So, yeah, we'll see how it comes. I'm excited to see where they go with this, with the Dark Order. They're kind of the top faction all of a sudden, kind of overtaking Inner Circle.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Are you a bit disappointed they did the reveal with no fans? Like no crowd reaction. There's no like pop that happened, or was this the time to do it?
I'm disappointed disappointed that it had to come to this. I don't think they could have. I don't think they could have pulled a 180 and held it off. Actually, what I heard, a little bit of a breaking kayfabe here. What I heard is that Brody Lee's hometown is Rochester, New York, and this was supposed to be, the homecoming reveal for him. So it's unfortunate that it happened the way it did, but like I said, they kind of dug themselves into a hole last week, not knowing that they were going to be forced into the hand that they were dealt, but they said they were going to reveal the Exalted One, and I think they just had to do it. That's all there was to it. So, all right, moving on to the next segment, we kind of have another interview with Jake Roberts and the Murder Hawk Lance Archer, a new nickname tagged on to the client. Honestly, I had this section on mute because I was live tweeting about Brody Lee. So, what can you tell me about this segment with Jake and Lance Archer?
Well, Lance Archer said nothing. It was all Jake. So I'm wondering myself, can Lance promo? He's not a new guy, right?
He's been in the business for a while, from what I've heard.
Is it just to have Jake on the show, or is it like a Brock Lesnar where he can't promo? I was wondering that.
If I had to guess, I think it's that. It's probably not strong on the mic. Sometimes big guys like that have kind of wussy voices, so to keep them looking strong, they keep them quiet. Maybe it's one of those things, but when you have the opportunity to have Jake Roberts on the mic, I mean, you take it.
Yeah.
Even with his voice, the way, it's kind of raspy now, and, from all the abuse that he's put his body through, but I mean, it still works. I listened to everything that guy had to say. I mean, mind you, I had it on mute this time, but I mean, I'll go back and watch it again. But
the basic message was that Cody was ignoring him. Like, Cody hasn't responded back to, Jake kind of saying, "Hey, I have this client and he's going to wrestle you. So was, you can ignore me and, shut me up if you can, but like, it's going to happen. Like, you're going to get yours," kind of thing. And then after that whole promo, then it cuts to a vignette of Murder Hawk Mansion, which just looks like a backyard ring. Jake Roberts is sitting in a rocking chair in the middle of the field watching basically Lance Archer run through 20 or so guys, just kicking the crap out of everyone. It kept flashing to this photo of Cody that said Caesar on it. I don't know.
Through it, holding it up to the wood kind of thing, or an ice pick or something.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what that might be referencing. I don't know. What did you think about that whole?
I thought it was cool. The whole vignette, the kind of the backwoods, kind of carny, circus-ish kind of wrestling ring out in the middle of the field, and who could step up to the challenge, and Lance just decimates everybody. With regards to the picture and this kind of nickname that Jake is giving Cody, Caesar, I think it's as literal as you want to as it seems. Like Julius Caesar. I think that's exactly who he's calling him. A young guy, rose to the ranks of emperor. I can't remember who Caesar was. He was the emperor of Rome, right? Like he was
Emperor
the head,
of Rome. Yeah.
the head of the Roman Empire at a very, very, very young age. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to symbolize, is that, Cody, he's the same age as me, I believe. 34 years old. He's running a wrestling company, essentially. I think that's as literal of an analogy as you can get. He's referring to him as Julius Caesar, and who's going to be the Judas is my next question.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
So,
one thing that I thought about this whole vignette thing is, and tell me if I'm stupid, but to me, this has Darby written all over it. I feel like Darby came up with all of this. He filmed it. He had all of the idea for it. To me, it has that flavor to it. What do you think about that?
It had his thumbprint on it. Now that you say that, it was just Darby in color. The camera angles, they kind of did the drone shots from up above. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think someone was impressed, probably Cody, was impressed with what Darby was doing with his own vignettes. And like, hey dude, maybe you need to take over this kind of Lance Archer business and help bring this thing to the next level. Like, yeah. Good call.
If we have any viewers that know any information about that, post it in the comments, because I'd be very interested if that's what it was, because I really feel like it's totally a Darby thing going on there,
right?
Which I think is good for the company. It's
sure.
It's like you say, Cody's recognizing the talents of people and then using them in other places, like Aubrey Edwards doing the podcast. Like, she's a referee.
Right.
What does she know about doing a podcast? But he must have saw something in her, or someone saw something in her. So, yeah, it's cool.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the ending of the show, the last match. We got Inner Circle being represented by Jake Hager and Proud and Powerful versus the Elite being represented by Cody, Matt Jackson, and Hangman Adam Page, or as it said on the ticker there, Adam Handwash Page, been social distancing since November. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, but after you told me, yeah, that's hilarious stuff.
Right. There. So the big stipulation of this match is that the winner of this match will get the advantage going into Blood and Guts. And if you're not familiar, I mean, you've probably never heard Blood and Guts before, but I mean, it's a War Games match. And the advantage being that when the first two wrestlers start, that first 2-minute interval or 5-minute interval, whatever it is, that team with the advantage gets their guy in the match first. And essentially it's a 2-on-1, and then eventually a 3-on-2, and then eventually a 4-on-3, eventually a 5-on-4. That's the advantage they're going for. And
now, did they say that? Or are you just assuming based on War Games?
Oh, they said that. That's exactly what's going on.
Okay. I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking, I'm like, what is this advantage they're talking about?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. And, credit to, we get Chris Jericho on commentary, which, we've talked about the last couple of weeks in regards to Britt Baker and how she needs to take some notes. We get Jericho on commentary and freaking bowls a strike on this one. Am I wrong?
No, I think he got the turkey on this one.
Nice.
Like, Britt Baker should have had her notepad out, because
hopefully she did.
Yeah.
He commentary in a whole, the four of them during this match, they constantly brought the idea back that You know, the winner of this match is going to get the advantage. However, as we're watching this match, it's 5-on-4. So no matter what, Inner Circle already has the advantage. They kept plugging that into our heads, which I thought was great.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think I was thinking at the time, it's like, well, yeah, you're solidifying that, this is probably going to be Mox.
Right.
So maybe he's coming back out. Maybe we'll, find out through some tweet video that he does with that. Yeah, credit to the announcers. They're doing what they should do, for sure.
What did you think of Sammy's rendition of Judas during Chris Jericho's entrance?
I mean, I thought it was perfect. It goes right along with the whole idea of having the wrestlers outside of the ring barrier. And it's what happens at a show, right? They sing along to Judas. So for him to do it, I thought the best part was Chris Jericho trying not to laugh. I felt like he just wanted to burst out laughing because obviously Sammy, not a singer.
No.
He wasn't doing a great job. He wasn't even on the beat. No. Like he was rushing the lyrics, and I think at some point he just starts humming along or something. He doesn't even know
he totally forgot the words during the bridge there. Yeah, totally ruins it. But yeah, like you mentioned with Jericho, like he totally notices the cameras on him, and he's like, I gotta walk back out to the ramp and get my back to the camera, because he was about to burst out laughing, I think. Yeah, good call.
Now, I didn't even notice this, but my wife noticed this. She's like, oh my God, MJF is singing along. And
yeah, for sure.
That's kind of out of character a little bit for him, I think, because, he's kind of like, I'm the man. And
right.
But I mean, it worked. He's on the heel side, right? He's part of Team Heel.
We had that whole in-ring exchange between Jericho and MJF, if you remember. It's like I think it was the Dynamite after Full Gear, and
yeah,
who's the biggest idiot? I know who the biggest idiot in AEW is. Cody Rhodes. Like
yeah.
These two are kind of, it's like Team Heel, like you said. Yeah. So of course MJF is gonna sing along to Judas. Like it makes sense, and it worked. And I like how he buries Sammy as it's going on. He's just like, dude, you're terrible.
Well, no, at the end he's like, yeah, it was pretty good. It was a bit pitchy, though.
Yeah, that's what he said. It's a bit pitchy, backhanded. Yeah, which is classic MJF. He's like, "Oh yeah, watch your match, dude." Oh no, that's Sammy that does that. Never mind. The match itself, what did you think?
Yeah, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was spectacular for the people involved. But it's a 6-man tag again.
It's a 6-man tag.
It's busy, and I just feel like if you really want to do more than 2v2, you have to have more cameras and more views on the screen.
Oh,
there's at times there's too much going on, and they're flipping back and forth, and you're missing things.
Right.
So it's confusing to the people watching. Like, what are you focusing on, right? There's a couple fighting outside. There's a couple fighting inside. There's MJF. Like, MJF was a big part of this match.
Yeah, it's constantly booing Cody and stuff.
Yeah, so you're missing that part, and they're kind of flipping back and trying to get it all in there, but not always doing a great job of it. I thought the ending was good. It really fit with. It seemed like the Elite was coming together, right? So the whole story is that they're broken, and they were broken for a lot of the match. Matt and Adam were, why didn't you tag me, and all this kind of stuff. But then at the end, like, they were coming back and they were working together, and Matt and Hangman are going to do the Indie Taker.
Right. Which was going to be a big spot. Like, I was on the edge of my seat during this part.
And then what happened?
Yeah, like Hager's there, and man, one of the harshest pull downs I've ever seen. Like, Paige really sold that. Holy smokes! Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the whole night. Sorry to interrupt you, but the whole night, like, you could hear everything. Everything seemed more brutal,
right?
Just because you could really hear the slaps. And
I guess because the crowd ambient noise isn't there, right? So everything, everything kind of seemed a little bit more impactful. You're right. Anyways, there's the distraction, the pull down. Inner Circle gets the win, and they're doing a celebration up on the ramp. And Jericho's cutting, classic heel Jericho. We got this, and he even alludes to Sammy being a Spanish god, and Sammy takes his shot at Brandy. This is all good stuff, and then we hear a buzzing coming into the crowd, into the sound, and we get this little drone just kind of floating down in the middle of the arena. I don't know how familiar you were with what was going on. I mean, I'm sure you kind of guessed it at this point, but I mean, I was already doing laps around the living room because I knew exactly what was going on. What did you think?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna, pretend that I had it all figured out. When I first saw it, I'm like, because I think Matt had the mic at this point. I felt like it was Nick Jackson. Like he was doing this remotely from, wherever he might be.
Right.
Because, it was about the Elite and Matt had the microphone. But by the time, it was coming down to the apron, then it dawned on me.
Right.
And then I was like, I stood up because I was just like,
it's happening.
Is this for real? Like, is this the moment? Again, Are they doing this with no fans? So that's kind of where I was at the whole thing.
Okay. So, I mean, it ends up being Matt Hardy. It's the conclusion of the #FreeTheDelete series. Matt Hardy officially is All Elite, and he's joining the Elite. Kind of, a little odd couple kind of interaction with the Elite and broken Matt Hardy. But I think this reveal works with Matt Hardy. It worked better than Brody Lee without the crowd, I mean.
Well, you know what? I think it was actually, this is going to sound bad, but I think it was you that ruined it for me. And I'll explain. The way that you described that you would have had Matt be revealed to the show is really how I wanted it to be.
Oh, okay.
Where you just heard the yeah, and then the crowd goes crazy, and then he appears from somewhere. Like I guess I was wanting that moment,
right?
So much. I mean, it was still a good moment, and I mean, it's the whole show. I think is going to go down in history.
Oh yeah,
just because of what's going on in the world, and just how well
they pulled it off.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a bit embarrassed that I didn't pick up on it right away, but yeah, totally exciting. Like there's a lot going on right now, and the future
Future
of
is bright.
wrestling, especially when we have, we can't leave our houses,
Right.
or we really probably shouldn't be. Watch some wrestling.
Yeah.
I think that's what my message is going to be. If you're feeling blue because of the social distancing and whatnot, here's a good time. Get into wrestling, figure out the story, and immerse yourself for sure.
It's a great escape. It's a perfect escape. So, like we just witnessed, like we were just talking about, Matt Hardy, officially All Elite. He's joining the Elite for this Blood and Guts match, so it sounds like it's going to be Cody, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Hangman, Adam Page, and Matt Hardy versus the Inner Circle being Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and the Proud and Powerful Santana and Ortiz. Looking forward to next week. It's gonna be a good show, especially with this parking lot match between Best Friends and Lucha Brothers, Blood and Guts. Hopefully some more wrestlers around ringside to make that Blood and Guts match even bigger.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Can I make you a bet?
Yeah, let's do it.
About this Blood and Guts match? I bet you $100 that Cody is going to show color.
What kind of odds do I get that he doesn't? Because that's a bet I'm not willing to take.
That's a guarantee.
The better bet would be is, does Mox make his way into that ring and lay some waste to the Inner Circle?
Is this? I think they mentioned something about this. Is this the same cage as they used in the Cody Wardlow match, but twice as big, or does it have a top on it?
It'll have a roof, as JR.
Yeah, rough. I did hear that, and I laughed. You're right. Yeah, so there's a rough. So how's it going to get in then?
I mean, there's still a door. Come up with some bolt cutters and. Because, the door gets locked after all 10 guys are in. And, if anybody escapes the cage, that's a surrender, they lose kind of thing. So, I mean, Moxley could come out with some bolt cutters and work his way in. I mean, it's a chain link fence. He can get in.
Yeah.
So, that would be the better
Yeah, I mean, if Brock Lesnar can, break the entire side of a cage,
right.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, really good episode this week. Excuse me. Wrestling
of our show or Dynamite?
Both. I mean, this show was epically good, but I mean, Dynamite was really good too. I believe it's Wrestling Observer rated this episode of Dynamite 9.5 out of 10, which, I mean, it was a great show. I mean, like you said, it was one of your favorites, but I mean, are we blinded by the situation that we're in? Is it that good in comparison to SmackDown and Raw this past week, which were, I mean, we didn't watch, but I mean, they were bad. We can only assume. But I mean, I agreed. It was a great show. Was it 9.5? I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed this show. But what do you know?
I think it wasn't when I'm rating the show, I'm not rating it just on the wrestling. I mean, it's definitely part of it. So the Jurassic Express Butcher and the Blade match wasn't quite there, but it had other elements to it. Like I mentioned earlier with the, you heard the ring, the slaps were harder than normal because that's all you heard. It allowed you to actually focus on the match. So not having the fans, at least for me, because I like looking for the signs. If somebody stands out in the crowd, so there's always that guy who's wearing a costume There's
Right.
always like a stupid costume. My eyes focus there. So I guess I just got to really focus on the match. So that's why for me, I was really more engaged. I was more into the stories of it. Was it the best wrestling? I won't say that. I just overall show and how it was presented, I thought it was one of my favorite ones.
It's definitely a template of what needs to be done during this time. I think AEW will improve upon this, and hopefully Vanilla takes note and they improve on theirs by seeing what AEW did. Definitely raise the bar when it comes to no audience shows. So, look, I don't want to say. I mean, I'm always looking forward to the next week. It's hard. It's hard to be excited for a no audience show, but the way this show went, I am excited for next week. I want to see what they do better. I want to see what else they do. And with these two big matches that we know of, I'm excited to see what happens next week. So, with that, great show. We powered through. There was a lot to cover, with all the WrestleMania business and the week that was AEW. Anything you guys want to add to the dialogue, please leave it in the comments below. We want to engage in conversation with you guys again, and think about hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for lasting this long if you did, and hit that subscribe. Leave us a like. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to doing another one next week. Do you have anything to add there, Damien?
In these times, like I said earlier about what Cody was saying, wrestling it's entertaining. It can fill a void that we have right now with all of the worrying that's going on in the world. So if you're new to wrestling, if you're into wrestling and haven't checked out AEW, go check it out because it's really good stuff right now. And keep tuning in here, and we're going to give you content that you guys want. Be safe out there. Wash your hands. Be kind to one another, and just be safe, and we'll get through all of this.
Very well said. I agree. We'll see you next week, guys. Peace.
Peace.